Shortly before Christmas, a man entered an airport. He was anxious to get home. His business trip had been grueling and he was not in a particularly good mood. Plus the airport loudspeakers blared holiday elevator music and he was sick of hearing it. And he thought the airport decorations were tacky. Worst decoration, he thought, was a plastic mistletoe that hung over the spot at the check-in counter where you place your luggage on that conveyor belt thing. Being in a grumpy mood, after his luggage was weighed and put on the conveyor belt, he pointed to the mistletoe and said to the counter attendant, "You know, that's so tacky looking, even if I weren't married, I wouldn't kiss you." "That's not what it's there for," said the attendant. "It's so you could kiss your luggage goodbye." On the Sunday before Christmas, a number of us are getting ready to go to airports, and I pray that you don't have to listen to bad holiday music or kiss your luggage goodbye. And I most especially pray that all of our holiday trips and visits are as safe and as pleasant as they can be. And since some regular members tend to go away to visit relatives and may not be here for Christmas Eve, I like to make sure that we cover the nativity story and talk about Christmas a little bit before some of us go out of town. Technically, it's still Advent. Christmas season on the church calendar doesn't officially start until Christmas Day, next Sunday. But this Sunday, we're still in Advent, a season where we anticipate and prepare for the arrival of the Christ child on Christmas. Today's Advent candle was lit in the name of love, the designated name and theme of this Advent Sunday. Past 3 Sundays we focus on peace, hope, and joy, not one of which is possible without love. Peace, hope, and joy are all consequences of love. We hope because there is love, and we have joy because we are loved, and we get peace because we love. Ultimately, loving as Jesus taught and showed humanity how to love will lead to that joyful, hopeful, love-filled day of peace on earth, goodwill to all, that day that we and God long for. Our liturgical year, the church calendar that begins with Advent, starts with all this love-related stuff in Advent, and then it soaks the rest of the year with love, from Advent to Christmas to Epiphany to Ash Wednesday to Lent to Holy Week to Easter to Pentecost, the reign of Christ, and all the days in between. It's all about love. And anyone who's heard me preach knows that the theology I subscribe to, which permeates the Bible and most especially Jesus' words and deeds, is that it is all about love. And it's not hard to claim that it is all about love, since the Bible asserts God is love, and that entire book is about God and humankind's relationship with God. God in creation, God with others, God in self. So every Sunday, that is what our service in one way or another is about. We lift up and we consider Bible texts from Genesis to Revelation and address love's presence in them. And it's not like there is only 1 or 2 aspects of love to discuss. As a very young teen, I wrote a poem that starts, "Love is such a simple thing. It flutters in on gentle wings. It lights, it lands, it makes us sing. It comes to us just like the spring. Love is such a simple thing." I've never quite been sure that's good poetry, but it captures one side of love. Love is simple in that it is what the Creator and all of creation and each of us long for and can and want to give endlessly. Simply put, the kind of love Advent and Christmas focus on is unconditional, and it does just light and land upon us. And we all want it, and most of us want to give it out as best we can. That's simple. But love's also very complex, right? It's hard for us to love all the time. Things get in the way. Ourself, laziness, fear, greed, jealousy, anger, violence, hate. What I'd add to my young self's poem is love is a complicated thing. We flutter away from it on selfish wings. It's fragile, it's hard, it often leaves when difficulties sing or when hate springs. Love is also a complicated thing. Advent, the season that we are now in, is about the promise and the coming of love. And while love has simplicity to it, it can and it does flutter in on gentle wings, but it is bundled in with the complexities of life's messiness. And you know what? The whole church calendar addresses love in many of its complexities. Christmas is about love's arrival and the messiness of Roman-occupied Jewish Palestine to a young Jewish family in distress, in a very stressed Jewish community, where the early church got its start. It's a small sect of Jewish Jesus followers. And Epiphany is about love being found through Jesus by Gentiles outside of Palestine. Jesus is discovered by those outside the Jewish community. They find him by following the light. Ash Wednesday and Lent are about turning from sin, that is, ways that we miss the mark of love. And Ash Wednesday and Lent are also about repenting, that is, turning toward love, which is the mark that we're supposed to hit. And Easter is about love, enduring and winning no matter what, even in the face of selfishness, laziness, fear, greed, jealousy, violence, or hate. And Pentecost is about the flames of love, which Jesus ignited, continuing on in the sparks of love that we in turn fan the flames that continue to bring to all the world in the ever-living body of Christ here on earth, now in us, the church. And Reign of Christ is about love's envelopment of our lives and our ways in an effort for love to eventually embrace all the world, to bring about the goal of the reign of Christ, which is heaven on earth, which is peace on earth, goodwill to all. And all of this stuff for Christians started with the arrival of Jesus on earth. That's what we celebrate at Christmas, Jesus' birth. Christmas remembers Jesus first arriving as the kickoff of what becomes the love-drenched way he taught his followers. It is, as I said, a way that is all about love. And the holiday season, Christmas, is in fact has all these wonderful traditions about love that can be understood as symbolizing acts of Jesus. Christmas traditions as metaphors, or better yet, as simple enactments of love that Jesus taught and acted out even in the complexities and the messiness of life. Christmas serves as a vehicle for love as we gather for meals, diversity in families, friends, even strangers. Christmas serves as a vehicle for love as we give needed gifts to all manner of people. Christmas serves as a vehicle for love as we take care of those less fortunate, giving time and talent and resources to better not just our lives and our family and friends' lives, but people we don't even know. Christmas serves as a vehicle for love as we visit the sick and the poor and the stranger and even those in jail, which we do more at this time of year. You see, the lovely truth is that we try harder at Christmas time to do to others what we want done to us. We tend to those in need, like Jesus taught in Matthew 25. We love our neighbors, and we certainly love kindness this time of year and walk humbly with God. And to the extent that justice is understood to mean what it means in the Bible, that people get what is due, then we do that more at Christmas time too, by loving and tending to a broad swath of humanity so they get food and clothes and needed things more than any other time of the year. Love saturates our holidays in the love-drenched way Jesus taught us to do and follow every day of our lives, all year long. This time of year is all about love. Even mistletoe has a love connection, right? And I didn't even mention Santa yet. Santa Claus can be understood to symbolize in many ways the very essence of love, the one whom we call God. To start with, have you ever noticed that Santa resembles Western images of a male god, wizened, white beard and all? And Santa is also understood to perform deeds through supernatural acts, much of it godly. Santa has knowledge of everything we do. He covers the world with his presence in short time and fits into any location with an endless bag of blessings present for anyone who behaves well in his way, Jesus' loving way. And harmful behavior doesn't result in positive blessings, but in negative consequences. And Santa and God both live in a place on top of the world, one in heaven, other above in the North Pole. And there are so many similarities, it would not surprise me if there's a PhD doctoral thesis or two on the topic out there. God comes at Christmas in the form of Christ, and one of the modern forms is as Santa, who continues the tradition of love as well as symbolizes it and serves as a vehicle for delivering love, symbols and feelings and gifts of love. God is love. And both Christ and Santa's job is bringing more experiences of love, God, into the world. And notably, both Christ and Santa need human action to accomplish their divine or divine-like efforts to effectively bring love to earth, including keeping the stories of both very much alive and passing them on from generation to generation. Even the secular parts of Christmas have at their core the religious purpose of the season, to celebrate and honor the birth of love incarnate 2,000 years ago, and to talk and to sing about it, and most especially to act on it. And so we can understand that Christmas in churches and Christmas in the traditions of the secular world, one way or another, are deep down about love, the peace, the hope, and the joy of love. As I pointed out before, it's no accident that the church year starts in winter, when darkness reaches its greatest length, taking up the most it can of our days, when life can get no darker. The promise of light is still there, and its influences and promises of transformation are real. Love is most powerful and experiential as light in the darkness. And that's all metaphor, because love is complex. And yet it's so simple. As Paul puts it in our Advent calendar lighting reading with the Schoenfeld family, led so well today, love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. And now faith, hope, and love abide, these three. And the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love. The Christmas holidays prove that every single year. Happy Advent.